Hey, you guys, it's Denise Walsh here. Welcome back to Coaching for Coaches. I'm excited to connect with you today about a topic that I think that a lot of us live in, and that's why we're in this growth phase. I often say if I'm not growing, I'm slowly dying. And the phase that I'm talking about is what I call this messy middle. It's like most of life. You know what I mean? It's the space between who we were and who we are becoming. And how do we navigate this space without feeling like we need to burn it all to the ground? How do we navigate this space without feeling lost and confused and spend 40 years in the desert? How can we navigate this space and as best as we can kind of get to the other side more quickly? So I don't know about you, but I've been in this pivot transition space several times in my life, and each time it took me several years to work through, to identify what do I want next and how do I kind of get out of this funk or let go and grieve the old past. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So be sure to share your name, where you're from, and any pivots you have made, whether you left a job, whether you left a marriage, whether you moved across the country, what was it for you that really said, all right, this isn't it. I got to do something new. And I'd love to hear a bit about your story as well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hop into the podcast, but I'll check in on the comments at the end. So be sure to comment below, and the more engagement that this video gets, the more people will see it, which I super appreciate. And if you are listening in on the podcast and or on YouTube, welcome. We're glad to have you there as well. Be sure to join us in the free Facebook group so you can interact with us live every single Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. All right, so today we're talking about that messy middle. Some people call it the valley between two mountaintops. You know what I mean? It's the space between who we used to be and who we are becoming. So welcome back. My name is Denise Walsh. I'm a clinical psychologist, entrepreneur, and creator of the Dream Life Pathway, which in my opinion is the bridge between who you are now and who you want to be. Today we're going to talk about one of the most sacred and uncomfortable parts of growth, this messy middle. This in-between season where everything familiar starts to feel too small. But the new chapter hasn't quite revealed itself yet. Now, for me, this has showed itself in this isn't feeling it anymore. I really was enjoying learning and growing in this space, and now, I know for me, I was a camp counselor, and then I got my first job as a clinical psychologist, and although there were parts of it that I really enjoyed, it didn't fit all the time. It felt like I wanted something a bit different or new. And so maybe you've outgrown old habits or old relationships or old ways of thinking, but yet you're not quite sure who you're becoming next. The reality is this is probably most of my clients, right? They say to me, I don't know what I want. I just know I don't want this where I'm at. I'm ready for something new, but that something new feels super challenging or hard. It's full of uncertainty. It's emotional. It's not easy. We don't just skip from one spot to the next. So today I'm going to help you understand what this messy middle really is, why it feels so disorienting, and how to move through it with trust and grace instead of fear or doubt. And my hope is that as we are in this messy middle together, it won't take you 5 years to transition from one job to the next or, wherever you're at, that it truly can, you can catch a hold of things and take quicker steps. So when we're in this transition between who we were and who we are becoming, we're not lost, right? We're in between two mountaintops, and we're trying to assess where we're going next. We're like recalibrating. We're dialing the compass again. We're setting the internal GPS, but it's not quite set yet. So we're trying to decide which direction we really want to go. Think of it like your internal operating system being updated. That old version is no longer compatible with the life you're creating, so your brain and body are literally rewriting patterns. I know that there's several of you listening to this who have already done this. If you take a look back at your life, you've already shifted several different times. You've already, let go of the people that aren't serving you. You've already chosen a new community and a new position and a new job and you've already done this. That doesn't mean that doing it again is easy. Every single time we're in this space, it feels glitchy. It feels tired. We feel tired, unmotivated. It's like our brain and body are rewriting their patterns right now. And we question everything about who we used to be and what we used to want and what do we want now. And I think that's what this podcast is all about, right? Because psychologically, your subconscious is grieving the familiar, even if that familiar isn't serving us anymore. And that, I think, for me, was part of my process when I was pivoting through my network marketing company, when I was pivoting through my job, when I was pivoting through these hard choices. Part of the pivot was this release of, oh, this isn't it. Oh, I'm going to have to let go of that. And so our subconscious is grieving what we've known, even if it's not helpful, right? So remember, our brain doesn't crave happiness, it craves predictability. So when you step into the unknown, our system throws up resistance, fear, and self-doubt as a way of saying, are you sure? Is this safe? Understanding that helps us to release the shame and just breathe into the process. So here's what we know. We we're saying, okay, this isn't it. And we're looking to do something new, but our brain freaks out, our body freaks out, and we need to understand that this is just part of the process. I have a lot of people who come to me, maybe they sign up in my business or, they decide to jump into 90-day U-turn and they're ready for growth. And then as soon as they take a step, their body goes, what? Are you sure? No, the stinking thing starts. And we resort back to old patterns. And so knowing that this is part of the process is really helpful, okay? Because then we can go, this is just part of the process. I'm just doing something new. This is not scary. There is no saber-toothed tiger, and we can breathe and really show our body that we can be safe even if it's new. There are 3 common emotions that pop up in this in-between space as we're growing and trying new things. Number 1, we're letting go of that old identity, that grief process. We're letting go of the friendships. We're letting go of the vision. I think sometimes it's like, this is the way my life's going to be for the next 30 years. And then all of a sudden it's not. And that's tricky, right? Because you're grieving the loss of the stability you thought you had. You're grieving the loss of, just the knowing, I think. There's an identity that we're shifting. We're grieving that old version of yourself, that old kind of life habits. This is what we do. This is how we experience success. This is what it looks like. And then all of a sudden it's not working. Or maybe you got let go of. Like maybe you were the one that got fired, or you didn't choose this transition. There could be a death in your family. There could be a lot of reasons that just like the transition chose you, a diagnosis, whatever. And grief is always a part of that change. Grief shows up whenever you're like going along your merry way, and whether it's your choice or someone else's, life throws you a curveball and you now have to make a change. No matter if it's your personal choice or someone else's, there's going to be grief there. Grief is just a part of change. Next is this fear, right? Because again, we're stepping into something uncertain. We don't really know if it's going to work. We don't know if we're going to like it. We don't know, etc. Fear doesn't mean we're off track. It just means we're beyond our comfort zone. So again, we're stepping outside our comfort zone. We're going to see fear. You're going to hear me talk about this all the time because this is what keeps people stuck, is living in this fear. What we want to do is we want to take a step further into hope. This is, even when it feels confusing, right? There's a bit of fear and anxiety and excitement. This is when our intuition says, keep going. This is when it's like, we're ready for, you're ready for that next job. and you're excited about it, even if there's this underlying fear of, am I really going to like it? Are they going to like me? You know, all of the stuff that happens when we go into something new. So, all of them, grief, fear, and hope, instead of judging these emotions or even feeling like it's a step 1, 2, 3, I want you to see them as markers that you're right on time. Like, this is what the messy middle looks like. And most of our life, we live here, headed somewhere else, letting go of the old. So, how do we live in this messy middle? How do we live in this valley season without losing ourselves and staying there? You know, as what Moses was in the desert for 40 years. Like, we don't really want to stay there for most of our lives. We want to eventually get to where we want to go. And so, there's a few things that I recommend here. And these are things that I teach with the 90-day U-turn because we all need it. We all need this reminder. I was actually just chatting with somebody today who's like, I need to do 90-day U-turn again because life has changed. Like, now she's married. Life is different now. Like, she wants to go through these exercises again as a reminder of what do I want and how do I get there, and the community of making it happen. So, all right, there's a 4-step process I'm going to take you through on how to move through this in-between stage without losing ourselves in it. Number 1 is to be grounded in safety. And this is the nervous system work that we do with the 90-day U-turn. We remind our nervous system that uncertainty doesn't mean danger. We create daily routines, grounding practices, and safe relationships that help you stay anchored. So the first step, you guys, is reminding our body that we're okay and we are safe, even in the fear. So that means doing something new and reminding yourself you're okay. It's maybe creating daily rituals, daily routines that ground you, whether it's your morning routine, your evening routine. I know I have a routine when I'm in the car line, like all these things you're doing on a consistent basis, no matter what stage of life you're in, on the drive to work, on the way home from work. You want to have these anchors that ground us in safety. Humans crave consistency and change. That's what makes us so unique. Consistency and change. So we want to have some safety in the midst of the change. All right, step 2 is to release what no longer fits. So what I find that happens is we like drag these old versions of ourselves into the new chapter. Have you ever noticed that? You're like, well, this is what I used to like, so why, this is who I used to be. But we have to decide, is that who I am now? Is that who I want to be now? So we can love who we were and let her go. Which means there's releasing in a few ways. Number 1, emotionally, energetically, like we want to release these identities that no longer fit. For example, if my identity used to be that I date the bad boy, right? And that no longer serves me. I don't want to date the bad boy. I want to have the security blanket. I want to date the one that's like gonna be a rock in a crazy world, So that old version of myself stepping into a new, more mature chapter would say, all right, that's just not who I am anymore. Or it could even be tangibly release the things that no longer fit. Think about, how are you spending your time? Are there hobbies or activities that you're spending your time in that maybe don't fit anymore, that no longer serve you? I know when I was building my network marketing business, I had to say no to youth group and volleyball and just some hobbies that actually weren't taking me where I want to go at this season of my life. And eventually I got to add them back in, right? But there's things where we say, all right, this no longer fits because it's no longer in alignment with where I want to go. So let's reassess. And I think that's why some people come back to 90-day U-turn several times, because they're like, all right, I want to reassess. Like, I really need a tune-up every few years, right? And that's what this allows you to do. So step 3 is to redream the vision. I think that this is the most exciting and one of the most challenging steps. So you want to ask yourself, who am I becoming? What kind of woman am I building my next season around? And even if you don't have all the answers, name what you do know, and this clarity grows over time. So redreaming. I say this is the most fun because this is when we can be the most creative. This is when you can create your Pinterest board and your dream board, and you can ask yourself all those really fun questions of, what do I want my life to look like? And what is my dream day? And what are my dream relationships? And what's my dream income? And like, you can really play with this step, and that's really, really fun. The tricky part is step 4, which is holding the tension. It's not quite there yet, you know? And so what we do is we gain vision. We start asking ourselves these questions like, if I could, what would I want to do? How do I want to spend my time? And then the tension comes in to reverse engineer and say, what step can I take right now? What's one step I can take to move the needle in this way? We're not going to go from A to Z in a week, right? Integration takes time. But when you have that clarity on where you want to go, then you can reverse engineer it and identify what next step can take you there. This space in between is not punishment. I know it can feel like you're suffocating or drowning, or I don't know. How has the messy middle, this like valley season, felt for you? But what I've learned through my own pivots in life is that it's preparation if we let it be. If we use this valley season as a time to, as a time to shrink, as a time to spin our wheels, as a time to be the victim, as a time to, not learn, not grow, as a time, then we're not moving. What we want to do is use this valley season as preparation as much as possible, meaning you want to be learning. You want to be doing the work. You want to be asking those questions. They often talk about a 10-year overnight success, right? Or those lucky people, when it's truly just preparation meets opportunity. You want to be preparing in this season so when the opportunity presents itself, you are ready. So let's take this in-between season, this messy middle, as an opportunity for growth. Not because, we want to race to the mountaintop, but because we want to be prepared when the opportunity to get up the mountain presents itself. And when it does, you're not going to have to be racing. You're going to be like in one of those things on a chairlift. That's what I'm thinking of. Like when you're skiing, right? And a chairlift comes and it takes you because you know what? You are ready for it. If we don't use this space to our advantage, then that opportunity may never come, or we're not ready for it when it does. This is a really important piece to the puzzle, you guys. Enjoying that journey, being grateful for that preparation, and using it wisely. Now, if you're a coach or a leader, my guess is that you've been here, right? This is probably why you want to start coaching, because you've had a hard time, you've had a messy middle, and now you are on the other side, right? You've already grown, and probably you might be in that messy middle right now because you're like, okay, I want to start a coaching business. I don't really know how. I've got questions like, how do I do this? And your clients or your team are going to be there too, right? They're going to come to you and they're going to say things like, I feel lost. I don't know what's next. And your job isn't to tell them, right? Because you aren't their boss. You don't know them as well as they do. Your job is to simply hold the space for their evolution. Your job is to ask them those questions, to take them through those 4 steps of moving through the in-between stage or that transition stage powerfully. Your job is to teach them how to regulate their nervous system. Your job is to teach them, all right, what's no longer showing up for you? What limiting beliefs or things in your calendar do we need to release? What do you want? Like, your job as the coach is to provide this roadmap. This is what we do in Dream Life coaching. We teach all of these skills in a roadmap that helps take you there. So then your client, who may come to you feeling lost, the answer bubbles up for them. Like their truth bubbles up because you're helping them clear the cobwebs. The confusion is a part of that clarity process, and being in this messy middle isn't a failure, but this is where the new identity gets built if we let it. Guys, we know people that have lived in this messy middle for their entire life. Literally 40 years in the desert. Literally. But that doesn't have to be you. If we use this messy middle as preparation, and we learn and we grow and we gain clarity and we create community and we take next steps, we can and will hit that chairlift to get up that next mountain. And as coaches, we create that space for growth. That's our job. That's what we do in 90 Day U-Turn. That's what Dream Life coaches learn to do for their clients. And as a coach, you model that for them. So again, we stay grounded in the unknown while trusting what's next. So here's what I want you to take away from this. The space between who you were and who you are isn't a detour. It's the destination for now. It's where you are right now, right? So let's stop trying to get up the mountain before we are ready. Let's really focus in on becoming who we want to be next. This is where that next level self is being formed. This is where your courage and your clarity and your confidence, like your skills are built here. If you're in this space right now, oh man, I see you. I have been here several times in my life, and I know how disorienting it can feel, but I promise you're not falling apart. You're falling into alignment. So if you want guidance to walk through this kind of transformation, I'd love to support you inside my 90 Day U-Turn program. It's a 12-week community-based program where we help you release old patterns, step into your next chapter with clarity and power. Come at my turn, and I'll share with you when our next cohort is opening. But if you're a coach and you want to learn how to guide others through this process, that's exactly what I teach inside the Dream Life certification. So comment or DM me, coach, and I'll send you everything you need to know to get started. Until next time, remember, you are not lost. You are becoming. And you don't have to burn your entire old life down, right, to build a life you love now. You just get to use this messy middle to ask yourself those powerful questions. And I decide who it is and what it is you want next. So then we can go create it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Be sure to comment below inside the Dream Life Coaching group. I will be drawing a winner for a journal and my action tracker. These are great resources for you to gain clarity and identify what you want next and do something every day that will help you get there. I believe in your dreams, you guys. We don't live this life to feel bored, burnout, overworked, and overwhelmed. I truly believe that we've been given this life to really ignite our souls on fire so we can then ripple effect and impact everyone around us. Have an amazing day, you guys. See you at the same time, same place next week.